everybody, and welcome to the SirLinksalot podcast. I am your host, Artemis, and today we have a super exciting guest because this guest was one of, if not the first podcast guest to ever be featured on the SirLinksalot podcast over 5 years ago. So I'm super excited to both give our watchers a chance to catch up with him, and hopefully I can get some fresh new insight as a new kid on the block as well. So Kalin Karakehayov is an 18-year-old SEO veteran who is the founder of an 8-figure startup that supplies age domains and backlinks as well. So he also co-founded a separate successful backlink marketplace and is also the founder of I Grow Younger, which is a YouTube channel and accompanying book that focuses on self-improvement and entrepreneurship. So Kalin, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So last time we chatted, you were at this point. Okay. The company had about 50 people. Your database had 300 million websites on it. And you guys were just now breaking into the market in Spain, so buying domains in Spain. In the past 5 years, since the last time you chatted with SirLinksalot, what has happened? Like, what are the new updates?
I think only 1 year later, we scaled to all countries in the world. So now we do every country, domains in every country, some more than others, depending on competition. But yeah, now we're truly global. The company is now 120 people. We grew our sales team a lot, so our customers have a better experience because before it was kind of a mess. We were a tech company, but we were mostly investing in stuff and selling stuff, mostly domains, but also links. Now we are trying to get more streamlined. Our teams, our departments are getting more streamlined with what we actually do, our company identity. So we are transitioning still. And the database is now more than 1 billion domains. Not all of them have websites, but we basically know about every domain in the world, even if it has just a few links.
That's awesome. So when you say that you're trying to streamline the process, what does that look like? Like, what is the biggest end goal for you guys?
We have two main directions. One is to maximize the domain industry. So every domain that we can invest in at a good price and then sell at a better price will be, ideally, we should be able to do that. So no missed opportunities. But as the domains are finite, and especially if you want to have unicorn potential and have investors and go again more the startup road, then we should do something that's out of the domain industry, which can be either something like SEO, like affiliate or mass website production, or it can be something related to data, tools. We have a very good understanding of how the internet works. In total, everything that flows, traffic, attention, eyeballs, money, data, we have a very good understanding of that. So maybe we will be able to do something that's out of the domain industry soon.
Gotcha. So pretty much your goal is to take the knowledge that you've already acquired throughout all of the things in the industries you guys become an expert on and kind of use that to scale, right?
Yes, and also we have the very good database of almost all domains in the world. So we have the foundation that is needed to have for many tools. You can do a lot of different things with this data. The problem is most of them are quite tech heavy and we cannot do them all at once. But in partnerships with outsourced tech teams, we can do maybe.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So I understand right now that in the process of getting everything together in order to move to this next step, one of the things that you guys have done is kind of give your website a facelift of sorts. What exactly changed? Is it the same website or is it this like something completely different?
This hasn't completely happened yet. So we have a new logo, but still it's the old website. We'll make a gradual transition, first releasing a beta to some of our biggest buyers in sometime in May, and maybe at the end of May we would have a launch complete in the new website. But yeah, the old website is just old. It reflects a past state of our company, a past state of the domain industry, and a past state of the SEO industry. So definitely it was time for a big change.
Right. How long has it been since you guys did an update like that? Is it like well far in the making? Whoops.
I think the last update of the website was like 5 years ago, or even 6, something like this.
Yeah, so pretty much right on time. That makes complete sense. So 5 years ago, which was the last time that you were kind of on the podcast, there were already some great things that were moving. You'd already been in the industry for over a decade. So going all the way back to even before that, you were pretty much a self-taught entrepreneur when it comes to everything in the industry. You built everything from scratch and you learned everything as you were going. Do you think that right now at this point and where SEO is, that you would be able to recommend that someone could actually learn how to get into like domain catching and selling that way? Or do you think that the industry's kind of like evolved past being able to do something like that nowadays?
There are several different aspects to our business. We catch domains, but we also buy domains at auctions if we feel they are underpriced by the market. But these domains that we manage to buy at auctions and then sell to a specific motivated buyer later, they require global understanding of the market, because it may be a Polish domain, very interesting to Polish audience, but then there are no Polish people at this auction at the day it dropped, so it's underpriced compared to the value in Poland. But we know this. But in order to be able to do this flips, you need to know the market of every country, which is something that I think only we have as knowledge, because most of our competitors in domain reselling, in SEO domain reselling, they mostly do .coms, English-speaking market. So to be able to monitor global auctions for local domains and stuff like this is, I think, mostly our thing. Also, we use a lot of different auctions. So there's a lot of niche knowledge that we have that is not tech knowledge, it's just market knowledge. But we also have tech knowledge about catching domains in many different countries. So that's another thing. And then the third thing is being able to sell, because there are some small sellers that just don't have access to enough buyers. So they sell sometimes the domain to us, and then we resell them to the global market. So there are many different business models where a newbie in this game can make some money, but it will be very limited in scope. And it may be that a few months you invest in some opportunity and then it closes because the market changes. It's very dynamic with SEO.
Right. That makes sense. It makes sense also that you guys have been around for so long that you would be one of the only people who are actually privy to all these changes and what it would look like in all the different industries and things like that. So I do understand that this entire process does get very ridiculously technical. And I know in the last interview, you were elaborating really well on all the technicalities of it. So I don't want to kind of rehash that for the sake of, continuity. But I do want to kind of bring it back to the basics a little bit. So you were saying that right now you guys mostly buy your domains at auction. So for our viewers, I think that it would be helpful to kind of outline like what is the difference between buying it at auction and catching domains, and why would somebody opt for one or the other in the industry?
Basically, the difference has shrank over the years, and now it's almost the same. If you drop catch a domain, if you buy it at auction, most of the auctions also have domains that are drop catch. In GoDaddy auctions, the domains are not dropped, but let's not fool ourselves. It's quite obvious to Google that they changed owner, because the who status changed, and then the name servers changed, and there's so much data that Google can rely on to see that it changed owners. So the main thing has shifted from fooling Google that the domain didn't change owner to actually building a quality website on the H domain. And this is an entirely different matter, because it's not our job. Our job is to secure a good domain, whether it's auctioned or dropped or whatever, while the actual job of the buyer is to build a quality website and monetize. So it has always been, the job of the buyer has always been much harder, because everyone can find and sell a domain. Doing it profitably is very complicated, but like everyone can just buy a good domain at an auction if they have the budget, or from us or from anywhere. But then matching this domain with an existing niche and actually convincing Google that this old link profile is legit and Google should still count all of those links, that's the complicated part. But this is only complicated if you're doing 301 redirect or money sites. If you're doing PBN, it's no problem at all, because you just want to pass the juice, a few homepage links, and your job is done.
Right. So the biggest hurdle for buyers is actually taking that age domain and making a website that Google isn't going to start raising red flags at. I'm curious, what kind of people are actually the people who are like the market for buying these age domains? That's a lot of heavy lifting that they'd have to do. What industries are normally buying these to make it worth all the heavy lifting? Is it all kinds, or are they normally like specific people who are looking for very specific things when purchasing these age domains?
There are still those specific people looking for specific things, but since the help for content update, affiliates are not in a very good place. And but the ones who did survive and thrive are the gambling affiliates. iGaming needs very different countries, different domains. Often there's a lot of churn and burn because the government may ban the websites via ISP bans. So they need a ton of domains. And our sales used to be about 30-40% gambling. Now it's about 70% gambling. They're huge buyers with, we're talking here, 6-figure budgets per month for domains. And they don't buy only from us, they also buy from auctions. But we are one of the, by far, the biggest suppliers for very huge, we are talking here, billion-dollar companies in gambling affiliates.
Wow. I'm curious, what is the biggest reason for this shift? Like there were so many that used to be just mostly gambling. Why did they kind of shift away from it?
It's not that the same people who did normal affiliate shifted to gambling, because it's a different industry and much harder and higher competition, higher payoff. But it's just that the gambling industry got more black hat. This is a large influence for this was Christopher Houghton's talk in Chiang Mai 2023, which really showed a lot of working black hat strategies. We're not talking gray hat here. We're talking like outright black hat stuff like Fiverr links and repurposing domains in a very unnatural way. And when they shared that it works and it brings them an enormous amount of money, everyone was just like, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my time in different niches, different industries? That's the way to go. So this was a big influence towards gambling and towards gray and black hat SEO. And I think also the fact that Google really don't know what they're doing right now, so the results are very random, means that people are banking it on scale now, not quality. So they made a lot of websites, and when you make a lot of websites, you cannot invest that much in the website, but you can still invest in the domain. So in the domains and the links is now where most of the investment goes, while content is being outsourced to AI. So content is now less of a cost, and the domains and the links become the higher cost, and domains are now much more expensive than, say, 2 years ago.
Gotcha. Even though the domains are increasing in price, do you feel like it's been getting easier or more difficult to kind of get into this as like in the industry?
More difficult, because when the domains become more valuable, then companies like ours invest more into domain catching. Our domain catching team, if you look at also the extended people in this team, like the people who do the account and the accreditations, who do all of the compliance needed and all of the paperwork, we have about 20 people domain catching team. So like it would be really tough for someone to fight all of our like just size and traction in this. And of course, this is what we have is not even enough to catch .com. The most competitive extension we can catch is .org, .co.uk, but .com is still out of reach because the investment you need to be competitive, the initial investment is something like $5 million. Not to be number one in the world for .com catching. This is just to start being competitive.
Right, and that's the hurdle, is actually starting to be competitive when there's so much going on.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because they have the technology advantage, data advantage, and size advantage. So, okay, you invest $5 or $10 million and they no longer have a size advantage, but they will still have the technological and the data advantage because you're still starting. And then, like with $10 million in the red, you now start improving your system. What if you can never improve it? Then you're just $10 million in the red. So, tough choices there for our company sometimes, because we invest money where that may never come back.
Right. That makes complete sense. And I mean, that's a lot of freaking money. So, I mean, obviously, if people are still doing it, then it has to be pretty lucrative, right? I'm curious, is there any like particular recent transaction where, it went through and you were thinking, you know what, this is worth it. I'm making a killing off of this.
Yeah, I saw I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, the domain mine.com dropped somehow. I don't know who the registrar is.
Mine.com.
Yeah. And it went to auction, and it's dropcatch.com who have the biggest size in the catching. And I saw the auction at $500,000, and I was like, come on, like if you were more aggressive maybe 5 years ago, we could have taken the money for this auction. they cost the domain for $10 and they're selling for at least $500,000. So it's crazy return on investment after you have the foundation of the catching.
That's insane. So like they purchased it for $10.
Yeah, that's the registration price of a .com. Yeah, $10.
Sheesh, I'm in the wrong field. So one thing that I also want to touch on that really stood out in the previous interview. Right now there's a lot of chatter around Google and all of these antitrust suits that is getting thrown at them because they have like a monopoly on many parts of the search landscape, and not just search, things like reviews and maps and things like that. So you made a comment about that 5 years ago, and you said that you went after Google kind of for their nonsense spam filters and kind of having that monopoly on the search landscape. I want to hear your thoughts about whether you think that has actually improved since you told that story 5 years ago, or if you think that it's actually getting worse.
I think that Google has become a richer company in the last 5 years, but they have become a more complacent company that no longer does enough innovation or just has a vision for the future or anything. The thing is that before it was all of the great innovative things like the AI they developed that's now the base for all the LLMs, the transformers model, the self-driving cars, like the longevity company and all the moonshot projects. Before they were in one company, and then they became Alphabet, and now it's Google who's earning the money, and all of these other companies in the group spending the money. And the ones that are earning the money, their job is to be boring, basically, and earn the money. So everything became extremely money driven. It always was like with the ads being the only source of income, but now it's like the only job of Google is just to make money. So they would squeeze everything out of Google, and now also from YouTube, which has become very big. Everything is being squeezed out. And anyone who has tried launching a Google Ads campaign in the search recently, like it's very hard to even target anything because Google just wants to steal your money for less value. Very hard to have an exact match keyword. Google is trying to add other keywords that you don't need and charge you for them. It has gone totally overboard. Okay, we're trying to advertise on some expired domains phrase, and you have to add negative keywords all the time because Google is trying to charge you for expired domains list, which is not the same as expired domain site. But if you put like closed variants or whatever, it just goes completely down from there. So Google has become an extremely greedy company. They no longer view anyone as partner. We are all just cows for them. Yeah, we're just being squeezed out of all of the money that they can take from us. They no longer view it as a long-term partnership. Like at the beginning, when they were a young company, there was this view that they had a long-term mission, and everyone was viewed kind of as partners in this mission, including SEOs. Now, SEOs are bad. The advertisers are like the cash cow, and completely lost the long-term vision. This actually happens to many public companies because the pressure from the shareholders is just so high. They want money. They want good quarterly results. And the thing is that if they don't get them, they will start selling the shares. So just how part of capitalism works, I guess.
Yeah. So do you feel like they kind of have, like the companies who are filing these antitrust suits against Google have a leg to stand on? Like, do you think that it's gotten severe enough where people are going to step in and actually do something about it? Or do you think Google is probably going to stay the default for a minute?
I think that that's not the main danger to Google. So if you can reinvent your company, it's like headwinds are not a danger. So Microsoft in the year 2000 was a super dominant, powerful company. Then they hit it with like antitrust lawsuits and everything. They hit it hard. But in the end, what brought Microsoft down was that under Steve Ballmer, it had poor leadership and no vision for the future. It became from a tech company, it became a sales company. And then with the new CEO, who is much better and who made the pivot to cloud and AI and all of those things that have a lot of long-term value in them, And now Microsoft, I think, is the most valuable company in the world, which is, if someone would have told me, let's say 10 years ago, that Microsoft will become more valuable than Google or Apple, I would think that they're crazy, because this was basically a company with a dying culture, of a sales company, people who sell Office, so and other shitty products. So they managed to completely reinvent themselves. But Google, I don't think they're capable of that. I think it's only downwards for them, because all of the money they're earning, the pressure from the shareholders, and all of the money is coming from one source, the ads. And this is paralyzing for them, because they cannot transition to AI search, because they won't be able to show the ads. So they'll have to fall behind OpenAI. Now in ChatGPT, if you open ChatGPT, OpenAI says download a Chrome plugin, that's a Chrome extension that makes ChatGPT your default search engine, and it already has millions of users. So the shift may come faster than we think. Of course, like having ChatGPT as your search engine is not really convenient. I tried it, but then I want to go into, say, Amazon, and I'm too lazy to write Amazon.com. So I just write Amazon in the search bar, and of course, ChatGPT will give me okay, this is the link to Amazon, and Amazon is this and that, but it takes a few seconds. It's too slow. If it becomes fast, then I think
maybe
it will take a lot of market share. But for now, it's too slow. It's not convenient for a default search engine. But of course, not being a default search engine doesn't mean that it doesn't get market share, because when it's a question, I go to ChatGPT. When it's a website or I want to check the spelling of a word, I go to Google. But when it's a question, I always go to ChatGPT, because it's better.
Right.
So already losing market share fast, I think.
I saw an article the other day that really kind of surprised me, and you probably might be less surprised by this, but they pretty much said that 30% of people who are forced to use Bing instead of Google don't go back to using Google. And I was really surprised by this, because it's kind of, the butt of the joke sometimes when it comes to SEO, and people are just kind of like, yeah, I'm ranking number 1 on Bing. And, I didn't think of it as an actual competitor to Google. But if it actually just starts, deteriorating because of this lack of, innovation that they used to have, I think maybe it could be a contender to replace Google. Are you seeing any search engines that you would think right now would be Google 2.0 that's not like ChatGPT or AI based, an actual engine?
I think that if Apple launches a search engine, that will be interesting, because right now in iPhones, Google is the default, and they pay a lot of money for this. And this is one of the main thing in the lawsuits, that they are basically paying to keep the monopoly.
Right, exactly.
But I think if this comes to an end and Apple decides they want their own search engine, the traffic, the ad clicks from Apple's users, from the iOS users, the iPhones, the Macs, it will cost more proportionally, because these are the users with more money. So if someone is searching for, let's say, car insurance in Android, this ad click would cost less than the same search in an iPhone. So I think that even if Apple takes only 5% of the search, the ad value that will take will be much greater than 5%. And this is a potential danger to Google. But also the long-term vision for Google is a dead end, because there will come a day where everyone will have their own personalized search engine via some open source APIs to an index that will be free. It's the free license like Wikipedia. And then we'll have a company, let's say maybe Ahrefs or another link crawler company, that just crawls the internet and then gives the API for search. And then you'll be able to build some open source on this. And I'll be able to have my personalized search engine with some AI and some index. And this is the end for Google, because where the ads, everyone is just constructing their own search engine. So this is bound to happen sooner or later. So it's Google, it's impossible for Google to adapt to this new world that comes in say 10 years, when everyone has their own search engine personalized with their own AI. But this time is coming. It's just inevitable.
Right. It's just a matter of when at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And hearing this insight from you is so insightful, because you've seen throughout the past 18 years you've been in the industry, you've seen a lot of changes. So I kind of wanted to circle back to your experience and how you're able to come up with insights like things like this based off of like the things that you've seen and what you've had to work through and things like that. So I know that you have a project called I Grow Younger, which is a YouTube channel, and also you have a self-help book, mostly based around entrepreneurship. I want to know, how did your learned experience with like your entire business growth journey and getting into the industry kind of manifest into this project? And that could be whether it's mistakes that you make or times where you think, oh, I've struck gold and this is how I'm going to share this with
Yeah, I had a few very formative experiences. One was that I think 2016, we were doing decent amount of money, 5 figures from link selling, but very low quality link selling. So we would invest $1 at a domain at a promo, and then almost zero for hosting, and then it will be auto-generated or copy-pasted content. And then we would automatically submit the website to a few link marketplaces, but of course we would pump up their metrics. So DA would become like 65 using interlinking, black hat stuff, lying to the most bot and whatever. And we were earning a lot of money from link selling in this period. In 2016, I was a speaker at a local conference in Bulgaria, where there were a lot of gray and black hat SEO people with very good technical knowledge, some of them better than mine. And I said, okay, that's like very easy money now. I'll give you the exact blueprint. Like you do this and this and this. And I gave them extreme detail of what to do in order to have projects that had like 20x ROI in 1 year and had basically zero risk. I said, okay, this kind of website, this marketplaces, you do everything just the way I tell you, and you just start printing money. And from, I think, 80 people at this talk, 80 people attended this talk, 0 people tried doing this.
Wow.
So people were like, okay. And like, it's not they didn't believe me. Like I knew more than half of the people in the audience. It's not like it was a lack of trust. It was like a lack of action. And after this, I was like, I think my understanding of humans is absolutely flawed, because I thought that, okay, if someone comes to me and say, okay, easy way to basically print money with very low risk and very low effort, I'll be like, okay, I start now, like not tomorrow. Yeah. I'll try it now. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but if it's low risk, who cares? I'm willing to try everything. But apparently most people are not like this. And I started like analyzing what leads to people making a proactive decision. Like everyone can make a decision, okay, what lunch do I eat today? Because you have to eat something for lunch. So, okay, if it's pasta or pizza, maybe wonder a bit, but then you decide. These decisions that are, I don't make anything or I get out of my way to do something, people usually choose not to do anything. So I wondered what are the mechanisms that cause people rarely in their life to actually do something, to get out of the inertia and do a proactive thing. And this led me different places. I tried helping friends, some with entrepreneurship, some with just personal mental health challenges. I saw how resistant people are to change. Like everyone is just stuck in the same patterns. And when I look back in my own life, I was like, but that's no surprise. I was also stuck in my own patterns, like same fears, same mistakes. And for the first 20 something years of my life, like I did nothing right.
Nothing. That's dramatic.
Yeah, but I everything I did, there was a better way to do it. Let's put it this way. It's not like I did things the worst way, but I also didn't do it the best way, like
fair enough.
Ever. And this is why every growth that I achieved in this period was really hard, required a lot of work, a lot of effort, self-pressure, and other unpleasant stuff. And then it turns out that all of this starts backfiring, because the mind and the body have defensive mechanisms, and when you push yourself too hard, then you get burnout and you get mental barriers, and you just want to stop doing the thing. And for me, this led to me dropping out of university and basically ending my parents' wishes that I became an academic, because they are both of them are quite good engineers, especially my father. My father is a professor of computer science, and he imagined that I would follow the same way. And it's not that I dislike computer science, but it was like I never had love for it, so I was just like following the flow. and until it turned out that it was no flow. It was just inertia pushing me in a direction that I had no interest in actually pursuing. And when I just kicked out from my life all of the things that I didn't actually like to do, when I dropped out of university, then there was space open for things that I actually love doing. I saw that I love teaching. So for a moment, I was a chess player professional. Then I was a chess coach. Chess coach was wonderful, working with kids and having a lot of fun. But then it turned out that I cannot possibly explain the same thing over and over and over again. It just drives me crazy. It's extremely demotivating. So I love to teach, but I cannot be a teacher. And then it turned out that I love entrepreneurship, but I cannot do like boring stuff. So I have to hire people. I realized pretty early that I had to just start hiring people and see how it goes. So hiring people with me was much, much earlier in my journey than with more people. Actually, usually people start by themselves, try and fail a bit. And when they are confident, they hire. But I started with hiring. I was just, okay, I have no project, just some ideas and concepts, but I start with hiring.
Did that benefit you jumping right into the deep end like that?
This is something that is like, it's from a financial standpoint is risky, but from an emotional standpoint, it's super beneficial, especially if you hire people you care about, because then you start feeling actual responsibility to people. Feeling responsibility to people is something that actually drives us, while feeling responsibility to a project is a broken way to do things, basically, because the project is not a living thing, so you cannot feel responsibility to it. The projects are like cows, like you have to take what you can from them and then just toss them away. If you don't have someone like to care about, you start caring about the project too much. Caring about the project too much actually backfires, because then, okay, should I check whether this project already exists? No, I care so much about my project that actually the fear of this project already being existing and being useless is too much. So I don't check competition. I become living in a bubble when I care too much about the project. It's like my own baby, and it leads to the wrong places in entrepreneurship. So basically the right way is to hire a team and care for the team and care about the project by the team, because you want the team to be happy and successful. And then you care also about the project, but in a more like healthy, more distant way, not it's like the project is your baby. So for this I had a healthy approach, but I have a very bad approach to different things. I have bad choices of business models and of many other things. But then industry is good. So the SEO industry is so good that I could afford to make many mistakes and still continue growing.
That makes complete sense. You do make a very good case for task delegation. Personally, that's something that I'm very hesitant to do, just because I feel like, okay, well, somebody else might get it wrong. But obviously, if you're hiring people, like you said, that you trust and that you actually care about, then it seems like it would be less of a hurdle.
Yeah, just hire them. If they cannot do the proper work, just fire them, even if they're close to you. Like you can fire them in a special way. It's not like you have to be mean, but it's
right.
Just... And after all of those experiences with my team, my company growing, I was like, okay, it seems like there are a lot of hidden things in life, like hidden forces. What makes people actually get motivated out of the blue and spring into action? There should be something. And I think I managed to reverse engineer a lot of the things that actually drive people. It's not that the science of psychology is unaware of those things. They are perfectly aware. But the thing is that there's like a mashup of a few things which overcomplicates. So we have psychology, it's a science. In every science, you dig deeper. And when you dig deeper, there's one person who can, for all of their life, study a specific part of psychology, be an expert in, not in all of psychology, but in a specific, that's what scientists do. They go narrow. So when you have a science, a field loses its like broad experts. So, and then you have all of the self-help industry, which is just for profit and just tries to squeeze people for money like every for-profit industry. And then you have a lot of good advice about self-help, but that uses words that mean nothing to people. It turns out that all of these things, the crossroads of everything is language, because language is everywhere. And you have psychology, you have very good information, but too much terminology and too complicated and too deep for the ordinary person. Then you have the self-help industry, which, unlike psychology, uses structures that are just emergent, because there are a lot of words that don't represent reality. I'll give you like a super basic example. For example, the word relationship does not represent reality, because relationships don't exist. It's only two people. That's what exists. The relationship is just it's an imaginary concept.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So when people talk about relationship, they overconfuse stuff, because they talk about an object that doesn't exist. They then give it some attributes, and the whole foundation is wrong. And this is the same about business. It's the same about money. It's the same about many things. So the foundation is not like proper foundation like we have in mathematics. We have axioms, theorems, we have proofs. We build a body of knowledge. In language, it's just completely random. It's just basically language evolved to solve prehistoric coordinating while chasing a deer, and we try to apply it to entrepreneurship. Like, of course, it would not work. And so I Grow Younger is basically a new way to combine good existing self-help concepts from psychology and some good spiritual teachings, like, for example, some Buddhist, package it with new language. Because if you have the old language, people hear it and nothing happens. Like, they can hear it 1,000 times and nothing will happen, because these words, they confuse their brain. They don't bring clarity. So right. Big focus on clarity here. And clarity requires a systematic approach. Okay, which words do we use? This concept that we use doesn't have a word for it. Okay, let's define a word. Basically, we have 800 pages of content and 20 plus hours of videos, and a lot of it is just boring stuff. Sorry, it's just the only way to do it right. It's definitions. It's like studying math at school. It's definitions, it's relations. It's okay, this is a one-way relationship, this is a two-way relationship. Basically things you can draw on a piece of paper. So yeah, at the end we'll hopefully manage to do an infographic of life, basically, and all of the building blocks and all of the relationships. But until then, we're just trying area by area to make life clear and simple. In order to make it clear, you should understand it deeply, see what doesn't matter, throw it away, and then you have a clear and simple picture. But you cannot do it right away, because if you just throw random stuff away, maybe you throw away something important that influences the other things. So basically, we dive deep, try to see what the actual relations are, get really scientific about it, and then we see, okay, the actual driving force is this, the actual problem is this, the rest are just symptoms. They will be auto-fixed if we fix the main problem. And then we see, okay, main problem is influenced by this driving force, and these two driving forces, they can be influenced by this and this experience. And then we can recommend, okay, if you have this and this experience, and focus on things you can easily change, like your planning your life, your behavior, then you influence the driving forces, and the driving forces, they influence everything. And it's like not very complex stuff, but it's not easily digestible. So, and when it's not easily digestible, you cannot sell it, because if it's hard to swallow, no one will buy it. No one will then share it. It's just what we do is, it's good that we do it for free, because it's impossible to sell it.
Right. And I think that there's kind of the beauty in that effectiveness of it not being sellable, even though it actually works. In general, having these concepts, in my experience, simplified makes it more palatable, more easily digestible, especially for people like me who need very particular systems of doing things. So I actually did take a peek at your YouTube channel and watched a couple of the videos. And one of the ones that really stood out to me was one of the videos where you were talking about how in order to help get over, that sort of anxiety or roadblocks or inaction, to just take a walk and get lost in the woods. And even the thought of doing that, and I tell you, Kalin, I was like anxious thinking about it. I thought, oh my gosh, I get what he means, because even the thought of just doing something like, and knowing, okay, well, it's going to work out. You just have to kind of do it and try it and do something new. That is technically a really simple concept. But I was I was struggling with it. So I can see, the simplicity does not negate the fact that it seems like something that a lot of people would definitely benefit from. So I'm really excited to dive in and learn more.
Yes, the thing is that I feel that the major, basically, problem of the modern person living the life that we live is that we have too much boxes in our life, too much structure, and this creates a big imbalance between the left and the right half of the brain. One of them deals with boxes, the left part, and the other deals with flows and things that are not so easily defined, things like intuition, motivation, creativity, curiosity, love. And when we overly dominate with our structured part of the brain, we lose the important things in life that we cannot measure. So we lose the unconditional love, the self-love, the meaning, the intuition, all of these things that are immeasurable but extremely important for everything, including for actual success. And to restore these things, we need just flow patterns in our life, which means just places without structure. It doesn't have to be so unorthodox, like losing yourself in the forest. It can be just going to sports, going to dance somewhere. There are a lot of actually flow options. But losing yourself in the woods has a specifically better effect because it comes with perceived danger. It's not actually that dangerous, but it will be very much out of the comfort zone of many people. So it would be perceived danger, which will lead to just giving importance to this moment, like releasing some adrenaline, being like driven to find your way out, being in what I call hunter mode. And all of these things will just give this moment significance. It would increase the amplitude of the experience. And this is one good thing. And the other good thing is that when you make your way out of the forest and find the path again and go back to civilization, you would feel like a winner, and no amount like bad psychological state would prevent you from feeling like a winner, because you are, it's biological. You just ensure survival. Nature has built into our biology, when we ensure survival, we feel like a winner. So that we always ensure survival, so that it feels good to ensure survival. When you feel like a winner, even if like you're in a meh or even depressed episode of your life, feeling like a winner releases those hormones that desperately needed to turn things around. So basically, it's like taking a drug, but without the bad side effects and without the all of these things. You just synthesize it yourself, by feeling like a winner. And how do you feel like a winner? You feel like a loser by losing yourself in the forest without actually this being dangerous or harmful. And then you feel like a winner. So you construct. These constructions are very important for I Grow Younger, because in order to change your life, it's very hard to directly change what's in your mind, obviously. So you need constructions that change it. But of course, if you have fears in your mind, your fears, they will fight you constructing these things and having these plans and these behaviors. So basically, you have to trick your fears, which is actually achievable, because the fear is a very stupid, primitive thing in our brain. Any animal, it doesn't really have very big prediction powers, while your intuition has very big feel and good prediction powers. If you start thinking, then you trigger the fear. But if you do it intuitively, then you don't trigger the fear. You have the good experience. And then when you have the good experience, the fear gets downgraded, and you get the release of the good hormones that place you in a better state. And then you have actually energy and motivation for more and better actions like this. So it's like it's a continuous thing.
Gotcha. So kind of going back to the group of people who you mentioned in the beginning who actually didn't take action when you were pretty much spoon feeding them the solution. So what you're explaining is that the blockers for them are probably like lack of motivation or a fear, presumably of failure or something like that. And those are the things that are kind of severe enough to make them feel that kind of decision paralysis in a way.
Like, I think that it's a combination of a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that we are living in a developed country, like most of the people were like middle income people or better, which means that they were not forced to, which is a good thing. Like, it's not good to be forced to like make money all day long, creating websites like a bot. Yeah. So part of a good thing, but also it's part of the don't understanding how life and especially time in life works. Because, okay, it's boring. It's not innovative because I already told you how it works, but it brings you money. It's just the material part of life is just a fight for resources. Okay, with money, you can buy almost all other resources. So what do? You take the money and then you buy with them freedom or experience or whatever is healthy for you and your values. So money is like the transition, the bridge. So you should almost never say no to money if there's no like bad strings attached. Like take the money if they usually take the money. And people didn't take the money, which means that they have no proper picture of how life works in their heads, because the same people, which were mostly people who had SEO agencies, would go to work the next Monday and deal with annoying clients, which is actually worse than dealing with bot work for a month, than outsourcing it to a VA and making great money selling links. So it's just that they don't have a proper understanding of how good and how bad things are. They're just very primal about it. They just, the first emotional signal, they immediately trust it. They don't have the intuition, because the intuition, it's not emotions. It's the subtle feel of your intellectual power, basically telling you what to do based on all of your huge array of data points, much more than logic can actually encompass. So they didn't trust the intuition, or they didn't have enough intuition about how the world works. I think the reason is, again, it's language, because we have language and every word has some emotional connotation, and basically selling links just sounds so boring and so just useless. But it's the best business. Actually, when people ask me what has changed since 2008 when I started doing SEO till now, a lot of things changed, but also a lot of things didn't change. The value of links did not change, and link selling being the best business to be in didn't change. It was the best business to be in 2008. It's still the best business to be in, I think, from all of the SEO, maybe even all of the digital stuff.
Gotcha. And if anyone is going to take anyone's word for it, we would take yours, because you've been in the industry and thriving in the industry for so long. It would be foolish to not take your word for it. But I mean, it makes complete sense. And I really am so grateful that you gave us so much to chew on, not just about the industry, but about, how people can find their place in the industry and get started in the industry and actually not be paralyzed into like inaction when it comes to kickstarting whatever they want to do, whether that be like entrepreneurship or getting into like at least discovering, everything that there is to offer in the field. So I wanted to really thank you for taking the time to chat. And I hope that we get to do another catch up, hopefully sooner than 5 years from now. But I know that in a couple of years, things are going to change again. And I'm really excited to hear your take on it.
Thank you. Thank you too. It was a wonderful conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon.
See you soon.